my God, qué emoción. Tenemos ya ratico hablando con Marius.
Finally.
Y de verdad, tenemos una emoción y una felicidad por poder sentarnos con un proyecto que está con nosotros desde hace un tiempo, pero yo sé que ustedes, tanto como nosotros, estaban ansiosos y felices por escuchar a Roosevelt. Woo! Hi,
What
how
up, brother?
are you?
What's up? How are you guys?
We're totally good. How's the weather there? Here it's pretty hot.
Here it's pretty miserable.
I love it.
What do you mean by miserable, though?
No, I mean, I'm in Berlin in Germany right now, and I think we got like 1 second of a sun ray today, and then that was enough. Like, everyone looked in the sky and it opened up, and then now it's just clouds again. Yeah,
It gets gloomy.
that's how it is here.
Yeah. But today we're with Roosevelt. We were talking behind the scenes, and I would like to bring this up. The correct way to say it is Roosevelt, because that's kind of the etymology of it. Can you tell us a bit more, Marius, of where does the word Roosevelt comes from? Because we tend to say Roosevelt.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think we are misconcepted by, former United States President Teddy Roosevelt, right? So maybe that's why.
Yes. So I always said Roosevelt in the beginning. And first of all, I want to say there's no wrong way of saying it. Like, you could call it whatever you want. I mean, I said Tame Impala for the longest time.
Instead of Tame Impala, Tame Impala.
So
that's
Tame. No, I think even Tame Impala.
Tam with
like
silent E.
Yeah, so I had my fair share of like pronouncing words like wrong, but I don't really care. Like, people can call me as long as I can kind of, they can pronounce it any way they want. But yeah, I said Roosevelt in the beginning when I started the project, and whenever somebody in the States said Roosevelt, I was like, yeah, this is not right. Like, this feels wrong the way you say it.
Yeah.
Until somebody explained me that it's like a Dutch word, and I grew up very close to Holland in Germany. And it's basically just called the field of roses. So a rose of fields. That's where the word comes from. And a lot of European immigration to the States, and that's why it kind of became a popular last name in the States. So yeah, I guess the perfectly right way is Roosevelt, but you can call me anything if you want.
All right.
You can call him up like we did. I mean, he's coming to DR for the first time, which is also it's so incredible. Again, we were talking so much outside of this interview, but I'm bringing it in. People were just so anxious to see Roosevelt here. And you also mentioned that you saw a lot of text. Can you tell us more about like the whole process with the Dominican audience just being connected with Roosevelt?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm super privileged that like I have fans kind of all over the world, but sometimes it's hard to just get to some of these places. And there's always like in my Instagram kind of DMs, I just see a lot of like different places all over the world where people want to see me. I mean, the big one is Brazil. Then another one is like Tokyo, I guess, and like Seoul. And for me as an artist, it's very hard to just decide to go there because it's so expensive to like fly around the world and make the tour work. And I also have a live band that plays with me. So it just has to work. And most often it's like a festival. That's like the occasion where it happens for the first time in this individual country. And the DR actually, like, I saw so many messages of people like texting me, you need to come here. And for me, it was just always this like kind of vacation destination, especially as a German, because like a lot of people from here go, we call it Domrep. Yeah. So it was just this place where I never imagined I would play. But yeah, I kind of saw all these messages, and then it just kind of connected with your festival that I now finally play there. And I totally, like, I gotta be honest, I don't know at all what to expect. Like, I don't know anything really about the culture. Like, I can kind of imagine it, but honestly, that's my favorite thing in the world if I don't know anything about a place, just to go there and to see it all. Because especially with islands, there's so many interesting like things happening culturally, because it's often like isolated, and then it's also like a mix of different influences. Yeah, so this one, I'm touring in the US and Europe a lot, and if you play Paris for the 20th time, you kind of know the deal.
You already know him, yeah.
And it's still like nothing against Paris. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, but
after the 20th time, you're like, you already know it more than your own house.
Of course. And
exactly, yeah.
And I was going to ask, like, we know you've already graced the Caribbean by the Corona capital in Mexico and whatnot, but how are the vibes feeling that you're going to be right in the heart of the Caribbean, playing on a festival, sharing the lineup with so amazing artists?
I really can't wait. I mean, it's also the festival season for me, because I'm in Europe, mostly it's just in the summer. So playing a festival in early March, close to the beach, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's right next to the beach. Like, Isle of Light is in a coast. Like, you see the ocean, the sunset, everything. It's just a different vibe. But yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I have that also in Mexico or places like that, where I'm like, this is a huge festival and it's like November. Which still, as someone coming from like a rainy area in Europe, it's really those moments where I'm like, I have to pinch myself, and I'm like, this is really the privilege of being like an artist that plays around the world. And I think the lineup is great because it's so diverse and so like bringing together so many different genres.
Is there one in particular that you like a band or a group or a
there's this rapper I think playing before me on the same stage. I think he's from the DR, or maybe he's just, I don't know, from the area or something. But I didn't know him. But then
I'm looking at the set list. Give me 2 seconds.
I can't remember.
Is it probably Trueno, like the Argentinian?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Probably. I think that would be
okay. So he's like South American, yeah, but still like somebody that isn't popular in Germany,
of course,
and that you normally don't see on a festival lineup when you tour in Europe. I don't know. It's just interesting to have a wild mix like that. And then also I think, now I have to look it up. Who else is playing that I know?
I think you're probably talking as well about Micro TDH.
Micro TDH.
Yeah. So Venezuelan, I think.
Yeah, Venezuelan rapper.
Yeah.
Wait, but this I know these guys. They're like jazzy, like very crazy.
Yeah.
Musicians, right?
Oh,
yeah.
No,
I saw a video of like these guys I know. And I think they're also on my stage. But no, the thing that I've found so great is that you have all these different influences, but then also, Poolside is playing, which is like a friend of mine. So it's like this perfect blend of like, you see familiar faces and it feels like family, but then you are mixed with all these like very interesting up and coming like Latin and South American and Spanish artists, or Spanish speaking artists. Mm-hmm. That I normally don't really play with. So I'm always happy when you don't see the same names on every festival lineup. Obviously. And you're suddenly in like a new environment, because it gives you perspective on your own music also that you normally don't have.
Yeah, and part of the Isle of Light, at least the purpose, is just to mix a bunch of people with different interests, but having a passion and love for music. And what is interesting is that you mentioned people from the lineup, which, this is kind of the first time an artist researched to a degree other people that are playing. Do you tend to do that in other festivals? Like, you see what's also playing and try to see if there's someone you want to see live?
Yeah, my touring schedule is kind of crazy sometimes, but it's not so crazy that I, wake up in the morning and I don't know where I'm going. Like I try to be very aware of what's happening and like try to select the festivals that I'm playing just by looking who else is playing. I think in this one I didn't know who was playing when the offer came for me to play.
Mm-hmm.
But when the artwork came in, I just had a look because I found it interesting who's playing.
Yes.
And I think one of the other things is like I'm always checking who else is playing on the same stage.
All right.
And that just to know the vibe and to know like if the festival is the right one. Sometimes because I'm kind of in like a middle ground of like electronic music and like a band world. So sometimes with festival it is weird because you end up like I remember in the early days, often we were booked to like a big festival, but the promoter put me on like the DJ tent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I turn up with like a band and they don't even know what to do like production wise with like to making it work.
Yeah.
So I still have this instinct of just checking the other bands and just to see if it's like the right vibe. And yeah, but I was like, every act on the stage is so interesting and so like, and I think playing after me or something.
Yes.
Like it's
in
just
the same
so
stage.
like,
yeah.
We cannot spoil a lot of that. We're gonna spoil a lot of that. I'm gonna edit that part out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
No. For YouTube, it's gonna be fine. Radio
No,
edits.
it's more a reminder for me and Gabby.
But it's fine. This is the thing. It's so conversational. We even spoil a bit the fest. But
sorry for
don't
leaking by the
don't worry
audience.
about it.
Honestly, do not even worry about it. You don't even know the type of things we've spoken about. For example, Villana Antillano, which is an incredible rapper. We're talking about like drugs, like up front, like psychedelics and everything up.
Yeah, like and her involvement on her spirituality with God, being a trans woman and a rapper in a male-dominated industry and whatnot. I mean, the conversation went nuts. So don't you worry about it.
It's okay.
Yeah, okay. Especially when you play a lot of different festivals, it's in the first second you already see if it's going to be an interesting experience or not. And yeah, I'm honestly looking forward to this one.
Yes, so are we. We're so excited. Not only did you release an album, Ordinary Love, I mean, we've played it so many times and a lot of other songs from Embrace. We'd like to touch base on Embrace because it came right after the pandemic, and this is the first time we're talking to you. So I would like to know, researching, I could see that there's a lot of highlighting of differences in lifestyle. You live a lifestyle quite different from your other friends. There's some songs that touch in that. I would like to know how has been the experience of being an artist now after the pandemic when you were also before? Have you seen any drastic difference, or do you like it more or even less than before?
Wow, there was a few questions in there.
Yeah, I'm sorry I had to do that. Oh, my bad.
No,
so let's talk about Embrace.
Well, yeah, okay. No, it's all good. I just have to wrap my head around it. No, so Embrace was this working title because I was in a phase of my life where we toured Polydance for forever, for like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Because the pandemic kind of stretched it out in a way that wasn't really anticipated before. And it was great. But for like, I think early 22, so like 2 years ago, I had this impulse of like, okay, I have to take a step back and I have to like breathe for a while. And I making music was always done for me in Cologne, in my studio in Germany. And I never imagined to do it anywhere else because that's where like my synthesizers are and my guitars, my basses, and like I was never doing music on the road. It was always just there. And then I lived in New York for a while, and my aim was not to even think about music because I wanted to like temporarily, because I wanted to like have a step back and a perspective on it, which was great. But then without thinking about it, I found myself with my laptop and headphones in the middle of the night making new demos, without thinking of an album, without thinking about Spotify and Apple Music and marketing, and just really about finding new ideas and finding new angles to this project, and like it just felt like a very natural process. And then I don't know, I talked to a lot of people back then, and I have a few like things that I still remember. Like a friend of mine, he kind of said to me, "Hey, you're a rock star now. Like, why would you want to walk away from it?"
But do you feel
And
like that though?
I mean, he didn't mean rock star in like the movie way in terms
Yeah.
of like,
Of course.
he just meant like you're in a position that you always dreamed of. Why would you walk away? Just do your own thing with it. Like you can live it in your own terms. Like you don't have to react to any pressure, and you can just make it what you want it to be. And yeah, just like I don't know. I think that the step back was important, and then the experience of getting to write those demos in a very natural way, rather than like, okay, this is the new album. This has got to be happen right now.
And I
This
wanted
all
to
led
ask
to
about
like,
that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, this all led to like the working title Embrace, because I had this new appreciation for where I am in my career and for like all these people listening to me, and this new connection to making music. Like I really had, I don't know, a lot of fun doing these new demos. And then I thought, well, now it's time to go back to Cologne to finish that record. But I never did that. So I just kept on like traveling, my little laptop, my crappy headphones.
Which ones? Which
And
ones?
I mean, they're not that crappy, but they're not like, they're not good. Like they're like 100 euros or something. They're not like fancy studio whatever headphones. They just,
I mean, sometimes for the road, that's all you need, man.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, yeah, that was the kind of theme for this record, because that limitation of like just being in like some hotel room or some backstage, because we were still touring over that year in 22, and just not having access to all those fancy equipment, but just like me and my laptop, my headphones, and maybe like a crappy MIDI keyboard as well, like one of these here,
Let's see.
like the
Let's
mini
see.
ones.
Let's see. Yes, we love that.
There
Yes.
There you go.
You know, just like the most basic equipment. Sometimes it can, or for me at least, it can reconnect you to the essentials and what actually is important to the project. And also I started like this, like when I did C and like Night Moves, like the very first tracks, that was all I had. You know, I didn't have a fancy studio. And I don't know, just this whole experience was so, from a technical side, so different from everything else I did before, because I actually made it work. Like I was just, I had like a whole bag of hard drives, and tried to archive everything that came with me. Like it was just like a manic kind of experience. But I actually finally made it work. And yeah, I never even entered a studio room for this album. It was just made, yeah, in Airbnbs, in hotel rooms, in like on airplanes and on trains and in the tour bus. And it just, I wanted to continue this feeling of this new perspective on the project, rather than getting into my old routine and my old like habits of like just sitting in a lonely basement studio in Cologne. And also, I mean, it's just nice to sit at the beach and work on your music,
And
right?
just
course.
relax,
So,
right?
Yeah, most definitely. And like now that you
that's the truth. I could, yeah, that would have been the short answer.
now that you
Nah.
mentioned that, like, you know, that's the way you started it, you know, like just recording on your laptop, crappy headphones and whatnot. Don't
We
you
all
think
did.
that's really important for an artist in order for them to feel comfortable with their project as well? Just to go back and regress on moments that, you know, started this whole machinery of their career right now. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, from a technical point, it's also, I mean, the machines, the laptops just get so good right now that even like 10 years ago, I probably couldn't have done this on a laptop. So it is quite crazy how accessible making a record now is, which is great because there's no limit anymore, or no like there's no gate anymore for creative people that just have an idea, for them to just try them out. And that helped me 10 years ago to start the project. And that still gives me the opportunity, with like software and technology getting better, to be doing, to do what I'm doing, you know, because going into like a traditional old recording studio is still very expensive. And and the to be part of a scene that's like kind of embracing the that lifestyle of like being on the road recording music and being spontaneous, going into sessions, and like, you know, the community aspect of that, that's really cool, you know.
I find it also really cool that you actually embraced that part of, yeah, right. That you embraced that part of your origins. But what I found interesting is that you had to not only back off, because I would like to know your thoughts. Don't you feel like music right now is being a bit too mechanic with the cycle of music? Like, you have to be constantly exposing your new art, and you have to be thinking about the next thing, and to the point where we're not really enjoying what we're doing. Is that something that also happened to you in the process, and that's why you also took a step back?
I think that's part of it. I mean, I don't know if it's because of the current landscape of music, or if it's maybe just myself, because for the first 3 albums, I just rushed from album to album to album. And I mean, this one came out also, like, there wasn't like a 5-year hiatus, and I like didn't really take a break in that sense. But it felt different this way, because I even if it was just for a few months, I completely kind of isolated from even thinking about expectations and pressure. And yeah, and if you have that kind of phase and then you come back, you also learn to appreciate things a lot more. Like, I remember the first show that I played with Embrace, with the album, it just felt like, I don't know, I looked in the crowd and I saw like smiling faces, and that's something I maybe would have overlooked 2 or 3 years ago. And now I don't know, it just felt like, oh, okay, this is actually what I can do with my music. And yeah, I've just got this, maybe it's getting older, but I've just got this new appreciation for what I'm doing, and for just kind of getting a respect for that privilege of being able to travel the world and play my stupid little tracks.
Come on, don't be like that. You're playing an Isle of Light in a great stage, and you're touring all around the world. They're
I ruined it.
Nah.
I ruined it with the last
sentence. What's happening? No.
I don't know. I mean, if you're comfortable, we can edit some stuff. You just let me know. But
I'm vibing. I love this. I am super self-deprecating as well, but I'm not doing it on the interview because, you know, that could ruin the mood. I did like the fact that you also mentioned getting older. We all, not only as people, we suffer from the consequences of getting older, but on music, it's so heavily documented. I know you started with bands, and then you created this solo project, which now has a live band as well, which has to be a different direction. But how has getting older while making music changed your perspective? Or, you know, how has it manifested more than just making music in your surroundings, the people you meet, what you do every day? How much does it affect you being in this world?
Well, I think, I mean, when I was like 20, I thought, I didn't think about the fact that a lot of my friends, and I also like talked about this on the record, that like at some point, it's going to be harder to like have a similar lifestyle.
Yeah.
because you're 20 and you're an artist, but then you have all your friends from school,
all single, all studying, doing kind of the
yeah,
same
and I mean they
thing.
have the time to come to your shows, and
Yeah.
they're like they hop on the tour bus for a few days, and there's this point, and it was pretty much when I turned 30, although it doesn't have to do with that number, but yeah, I just realized a lot of my friends are like having a job now and just like being in an office, or like which is a totally respectable thing to do, but it's just like it really kind of felt isolating in a sense that when you are on tour, you are on tour, you don't see them, and they can't just like come around,
Of course.
and it's not it sounds like such a first world problem, because I have enough friends that also do music. Like, it's not that I like question my career choice because of it or whatever, but it is a different feeling touring when you're 33 compared to when you're 21. It does feel like a more of a dedicated thing, because you're suddenly you're like, from your like oldest friends, you're kind of the only one having that lifestyle of like being in clubs every day and playing music. No, but like coming back to what I said earlier, I think this appreciation that I have now for it, that also comes, like, I think when you're like 22 and you play a festival, I think you just think you're the greatest person in the world, and you don't really care for others. And actually that success can be like very fleeting, and like very like it can be like a very dynamic thing. Like, I don't know if in a couple of years people know that people want to listen to my music anymore, and that's totally fine. But just being aware of that, and being like, now I'm in this position to play this festival, and I don't want this to be like the move to be able to play another one next year. I really want to enjoy this, and I really want to be present, and embrace the moment.
There you go.
No pun intended.
All the pun intended. What are you saying?
No, this is something, I mean, it sounds very, very boring, I guess, but this is something that really came maybe since the pandemic, like for the last 3 years. And it's been great because, yeah, like I said, I think in the past I played a lot of things where, my agent maybe would tell me, hey, we need to play this, and then next year we can do this. And this is very normal in a career and still happens. But I think as an artist, you sometimes, especially if you're surrounded by music business people and my team, which I love and appreciate, but sometimes as an artist, you can get like very stuck in this like almost like business thinking way of like, hey, I'm just doing this to take the next step. And this really changed for me. Like, I really, learned to be in the moment when I play these shows, and to have a sense of appreciation for it that I didn't have before.
Yes, that's super important. And as fans, that's also super important, because if you're enjoying it, we're most likely going to enjoy it even twice more.
Oh, yeah.
What do you have prepared for I Love Light? What can we expect? What are you going to like do a split in the middle of the stage? Like, what's going? Yeah, why not?
Preparing that, and now you gave it away. So
I'm sorry.
Darn it, Gabby.
I am so sorry. Please don't sue me. I don't have money. But what is coming up?
With another circus trick in the middle of the set. No, I mean, we're just people sometimes ask me, what are you planning for this and this festival? And I think the truth is we're just doing our thing. Like, I don't plan specific things for like a specific show, because I just want to kind of continue with the style that I'm doing anyway, which is, I think, like a more energetic and more like a powerful version of like the records. I always think of it that way. Like, on the records, there's a version that you produced and lived with for a year, and it's perfectionist. And if you would try to reproduce that in every sense for the live show, it would be so boring because people can listen to that on the record. So I tried to make the live show just a little bit more exciting and powerful. And when you play live, it's almost this ping pong kind of feeling of like you bring in the energy, you get the energy back. And something really magic can happen when both sides kind of know of that and they like, you know, get pushed and pushed more into like a very blissful kind of experience. And that's what we try to create every night. You know, that's what it's all about. And I try to make like a very like welcoming and like fun experience. You know, I don't want it to be like a show where some people just nod their head and like, hey, yeah, this is cool. I really want like the people to move and to enjoy themselves and forget themselves for a second. And yeah, for me, what changed in the last years is like I'm just trying to have the most fun possible now. Like I used to be very, very anxious and nervous about shows, but now I'm just like, why wouldn't I like make this a fun experience for me as well? Because the crowd can totally tell if you're having fun, then you know they love that. So
it's so sad that you don't know the gossip from here because we would be gossiping right now with what you just said.
Oh yeah, because that what you just said might be a hard pill to swallow for some people, but we are so on the same page with that. It's like, dude, it's a give you take kind of thing, kind of situation, you know, between the crowd and the artists and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%. I see myself as the best Roosevelt cover band in the world now.
There you go.
That's the spirit. No stress. That's your
it really
motto.
Helps. Like that's my because it really is the truth. Like all these little details that you do in a production, nobody cares about them when you play live. It's only about the energy and the fun and the, you know, just the vibe and the people want to have a good time. And if you forget about that, then your show is probably lame and you know, nobody cares about it.
Although you might not believe it, you've given a lot of intel from a lot of like spaces, not only the business side, but also the performing side. This has been really enriching somehow.
Yes, amazing.
Really. We're so excited to see you in Isle of Light. Thank you so much, Roosevelt. We said it correctly. For being with us. Y sigan sintonizando y escuchando Radio Bizarro.